Hey guys, welcome back. I apologize, my voice is still a little wonky from recovering from laryngitis, which is why, oh my goodness, why I forgot to post for a few days. It's been a hot mess. What I had pre-recorded was before I got sick, so yeah. Anywho, we're gonna jump right in. Emotional dysregulation. How one reacts to stimuli depends on many things. One of them is one's state of mind when the trigger occurs. This may not be static, but may depend in part on one's present state of mind and one's previous experiences as well as the social context in which the emotion is generated. For instance, humiliation. If one feels somewhat humiliated by a seemingly innocuous remark by a friend in a one-on-one setting, a person may feel slightly annoyed. However, if the remark is made in the presence of other people, the response may become highly explosive. The rage which is ignited can shut down the higher cognitive, rational functions and descend into the realm of reflexive responding, or what Siegel calls, quote, a state of emotion dysregulation, unquote. I know a couple of people who ended up in jail because of this very phenomenon. In neither case could the person remember exactly what happened to set them off. And they both mentioned feeling as if they were in a different state of consciousness than they had been only seconds before. It's like seeing red, you know, the phrase. This apparent inability to regulate one's reaction to emotion is often seen as a psychiatric problem. Alan Shore, in a seminar on, quote, affect regulation and repair of the self, unquote, said that good mental health might be defined as the ability to regulate our affect, aka emotions. Two such disturbances caused by an inability to do so are mood disorders, dysfunctions in perception, memory, beliefs, and behaviors, and anxiety disorders, excessive sensitivity to the environment, impaired stimuli, discrimination, and a sense of impending disaster. I'm going to pause there. The fact that not everyone has those, and I know I do, is just wild to me. Sometimes, we live in such a world of this dysregulation that we forget that it's not normal. It's normal to us, right? Excuse me. So, our brains are wired as adoptees, or if you've had trauma, right? You don't have to be adoptee to have trauma, but let's just go with it. That you're living in a sense of when is the other shoe gonna drop, right? And that's not normal. Not everyone lives that way. I know that's hard to put into words, but that's just yeah. Sorry guys. It's it's our normal, right? But it's not the normal. Okay. When shame and or humiliation are enacted over and over again, Siegel points out, quote, we could almost say that the activation of this state had become a personality trait, unquote. This is so obvious in the case of some adoptees, who often identify with their feelings and behaviors as if these define who they are. Of course, there is a great deal of controversy as to what institutes, quote unquote, who we are. But because I see trauma as causing most of the destructive, outrageous, or secretive behavior, I don't see the behavior as the person is at all, but only how they are reacting to the trauma, aka coping. Identifying with behavior can damage self-esteem and keep a person from realizing their potential. So think of it as like when you're a kid, like, oh, I'm a good boy or I'm a good girl. Instead of, like, if you get in trouble, like, you were bad. No, your behavior was bad, but that doesn't mean you as the individual are bad. You see how that's a difference? I know that's hard to see as a kid, but this is why wording matters. Okay. In the case of adoptees for whom that feeling of shame, aka not being kept, begins in the earliest years of life, there is no earlier reference point for who they are. Many identify with that shame-filled self and live their lives as undeserving, unworthy, unlovable people. Birth mothers may also experience the belief that they are unworthy because they don't keep their babies. However, the advantage birth mothers have, or may have, is that there was a time when they experienced themselves differently, so that they have a reference to a truer self. It is essential to remember that this is not a personality trait. It is a state of mind predicated upon an emotional response to trauma. So, as we've been discussing, that for the majority of us adoptees, the ones that were born at birth, or adopted at birth, oh my god, born at birth. Yes, we were all born at birth. Anywho, those of us who were adopted at birth don't have a pre-trauma reference. Now, some may have been young, as young as 2, 3, so they may not necessarily remember it, but their brains, they still had those little amount of time to adjust to that little pre-trauma, right? The thing is that adoptees don't get to be authentic, right? We're constantly told who we are by our adoptive parents, by our birth parents, by society, and we really don't get to experience things for ourselves and determine, who and where and what we want to be in the same sense that a non-adoptee gets to, right? So many times people don't understand that our emotions are on high alert often, and if you're not working on the healing, it can be triggering, which then cause the pitfall of this big reaction and stuff, which can, as Nancy Newton-Verrier said, get you in trouble, right? It's like a catch-22. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next part.